Hey guys, welcome back to Tackle Tip Tuesday. I want to talk to you guys today about Senko fishing. It's a type of fishing that I really enjoy doing. There's a lot of different ways to do it. It works really good in the spring. I probably need to throw a Senko more. I tend to throw a Senko the majority of the time in the spring. I'm switching between a spinnerbait, a Senko, and some sort of flipping bait. It catches fish year round. I don't know why I tend to not throw it as much in the summer. Maybe because in my mind the fish are a little bit deeper, and they are. But the Senko, man, it catches fish all the time. And I usually keep my Senko fishing pretty simple. I'll throw a 5-inch Senko 9 times out of 10 in pretty much 2 colors. It'll be green pumpkin, which I just showed you, and black and blue. And usually my Senkos are going to vary between one of those 2 colors right there, black and blue or green pumpkin. I love in the spring to throw a Senko wacky rig. A lot of people will use an actual wacky rig hook, which is a whole lot smaller hook. I don't like to do that. I like to use a big gauge wide gap worm hook and hook it right through the middle, because when I'm throwing a Senko in the springtime, I'm almost power fishing a Senko. It's slow, but I'm fishing for a big fish, and I want that pow that you can get with that big fish and that little bit heavier line. And it's just had a lot of success. I've tried the other kind of hooks. I've tried fishing regular worm hooks. Put my hand up behind it so you guys can see it. Regular worm hooks. I like the wide gap because the Senko falls like that with the hook down, and I think of it kind of like almost like a pendulum. When that fish comes up and grabs it, I want that wide gap to rotate up into the fish's mouth and then pop him right in the top. Another thing a lot of people do that I don't do is they use an O-ring or an O-ring tool, which slides over the top of the Senko. What I don't like about that is that now my hook has to ride like that on top of the Senko. I'm trying to get it so you guys can see it. It rides like that on top of the Senko, and that is not what I'm looking for. I want my hook sitting just like that. And yeah, every now and then you throw one off, you throw a backlash. But to me, the payoff's much better. I don't like the way the bait falls with the O-ring at all. Honestly, and I'm not even hung up on any one brand of Senko. I think that the actual Senko probably has the most action. It also wears out the fastest. I do change the brands up a little bit on what I'm looking for fall rate wise. If I'm looking for a slow fall, I'm going to throw a Gambler Ace. It's the slowest falling Senko that you can find. The Guggen baits, I've had a lot of luck with those. Their Senkos, I don't use a ton of their stuff, but they're I believe it's called a Lunker Log 5-inch, tends to work really well. The Yum Dinger works very well. Almost everybody makes a variation of Senko, but for me, it's kind of honestly whatever I can buy cheapest. I haven't seen a ton of difference. I just have noticed on a day when the fish are very sluggish that the Gambler falls slower. Another thing that I like to do with the Senko is actually flip it. I don't do this as much. If I can get away with a jig, I'd rather flip a jig. But you know, then you would just hook your Senko normal, like you would any other worm. Another thing that I do a lot with the Senko is I keep one for skipping docks like that. But I'll show you that in a minute on my skipping docks or the Senko setup. That's mostly what I do in the springtime. Probably the rest of the year, the way I'm fishing a Senko is bat and clean up for topwater. And I'll keep one rigged just like that, because a lot of places I'm throwing topwater is pretty gnarly stuff. And if you miss a fish on a buzzbait, a lot of times if you throw that green pumpkin Senko right back in there, they'll come back and get it. They think they killed it and it's falling, but you got to be quick. You can't be 30 seconds later. You got to be like a split second later. Get that buzzbait in. That's why you use one of the reasons you use a fast reel on a buzzbait. Get that bait back in, fire that Senko out. If you can get away with doing that on a spinning reel, I kind of recommend it, bait and clean up, because everybody knows that you can throw a mega backlash trying to throw at schooling fish and where a fish just blew up, and that spinning reel won't tend to backlash on you as bad. Talking about the colors of the bait, like I said, black and blue and green pumpkin. Sometimes I'll throw in a green pumpkin with a red flake if I'm around grass, a lot of grass, a grass lake, and sometimes I'll throw a white if I'm around a lake with a lot of shad, if I'm throwing it around docks. Now I want to show y'all my Senko setup. This is what I'm going to be throwing a Senko on in the spring when I'm Senko fishing. It's got a little jig on here because I was smallmouth fishing with it a couple days ago. This is a carrot stick. It's an old school carrot stick that I bought probably 12 years ago. It's the original. You can't buy these anymore. If you get a chance to buy one, buy it, because they were great rods. The new ones aren't hitting on much. But it's a 6'9", 3/8 to 1 ounce. A 6'4" reel. And I'm going to throw this on 12-pound test because, like I said, I'm mostly power fishing this bait. And when you throw that out there, I'm going to throw it out there and let it fall on a slack line. And I'm going to watch my line the whole time, because chances are that bait's falling so slow I'm not going to feel it. But I'll see that line jump, or I'll see that the line take off. And I'm using a heavy gauge wire hook, 12-pound line. I don't really have to worry about breaking it. And I am going to cram him when he bites it, because this is my chance to get a good hook set in the top of the mouth. It's springtime. That fish could be anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds. And that's why I don't like messing around with little hooks. I got a whole lot better chance of hooking that fish, but don't go easy on them on the hook set. Now, when I'm throwing around docks, I've done this a lot at High Rock or Lake Norman or places like that, and this is when I'm gonna almost exclusively be throwing the green pumpkin, or maybe the white, depending on the lake. I'm gonna throw it on a shorter spinning rod, because I struggle skipping light baits under docks. I can do it very effectively. This is a 6'9" spinning rod. It's very stiff. I'll actually give you the exact weight on it if I can find it. It is a medium heavy with a fast taper, 6 to 12 pound line, 1/8 ounce to 1/2 ounce, and it's a loose speed stick. I have had a lot of luck because I can kind of one-handed skip that under docks and get it way under there. And I don't think they see a lot of Senkos under the docks like that. I used to fish as a co-angler a lot in the BFLs and stuff, and I picked up a lot of fish fishing the Senkos under there like that. You can do it wacky rig. It's very effective if you can keep from getting hung, but I tend to go more with just the straight normal worm style that way. Sometimes I'll throw 10-pound tests depending on the spinning reel, just because it does a little bit better. Then again, you have to be very careful not to break them off. But where am I going to throw these baits? That's the question. In the springtime, I'm throwing them around staging areas where I think the bass are waiting to spawn. I'd pretty much like to throw anything else at a spawning bass other than the Senko, but I'm mostly doing pre-spawn fishing with this. So I'm fishing that 5 to 10 foot of water. You got to be patient. This is slow fishing, but when they're hitting it, it can be great. And sometimes they're not aggressive enough right then to hit a spinnerbait or a chatterbait. You know, the water's going up, down, up, down. They also see a lot of those, and being patient, you know, pays off. Like I said, guys, that's kind of what I do with the Senko. I need to throw it more. If you guys will put that in your arsenal, I think it'll help you catch more fish. Like I said, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate y'all watching these. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.